And welcome to the channel. Right, so we're in the van. We're going to go to it's a dangerous world out there. Yeah, so what we've got, numpties. Okay, I've got a wee bit of a. There's an interesting point. Always learning about. So this woman said, I suppose I got into an argument as such. It was really quite irrelevant, really. So it was like, what about you can't drink any alcohol? And I said something like, the pub. We're talking about why the pubs are shutting, and she said, well, you can't hear a fag. And I said, that's right, aye. And I says, you can't hear a pint. You've got the car either, can you? You can't hear a couple of pints. And she says, well, you can't hear anything. I says, well, she says, it's zero, isn't it? I says, no, it's not zero. I says, I don't know what it is. I says, but it's not zero. You're driving. It's not zero, right? So of course this is an argument about definition. So she wasn't talking. So I said, no, you're allowed some alcohol in your system. So this woman looks it up, sitting next to me, 22 milligrams, but 0 units. So they sort of thought they'd beat me in this argument, which they hadn't. But she was talking about units, but she didn't say units. She just said 0. So 22 milligrams is like, I think it's half a unit or something. I think that's what it is. Wait, swing right round here. Aye, because we've got a long wheelbase van. So it's not. So the argument, I suppose, really at the end of the day, it's pointless. But it said more about the person actually, because she was sort of going on about it, and she seemed to think, or she wasn't. So I'm willing to admit that if we're talking units, but I don't. I says, well, I don't say I'm going to the pub to have 27 units, do I? Even though I've got 27 genders, so it should be 27, a unit for each gender, right? I don't say that. I'm just not that sort of person. And you really need to don't stop when you get to that roundabout. Just keep fucking going. So it's 0 units, but it's 22 milligrams. So the point I was making, this is how you can get pointless arguments with people, is that you cannot go to the pub just for a pint with your car. That could be one of the factors why pubs have shut. So the other thing that you do is if you sense there's a bit of, and that's what I've done, discord or not disharmony, you leave. Don't keep flogging a dead horse. Is that car going to stop? See, I didn't know if it was. You've got to be, don't trust lights. You just don't know. So what's that fucking Audi doing? Where are you going? It's going to sit there like a fucking pillock. Right, so we're going to park out. Where are we parking? Park here, the motorhome bit. Why not? Just park here. Right, there you go. So it's all about definition. Enter into a debate around. So we had our talk about various things. But they've talked about, this lady was talking about banning the burqa and us as well. I don't agree with that. And so basically it's so I says, I'm not saying that I'm right. I don't agree with that. I don't want to ban the burqa. I don't think we should ban the burqa, right? I says, and I sort of set out why, because I'm a liberal and I believe you should be able, I don't think you can bring out a law saying what you can't wear, but they're not really. They weren't listening to me, these people. So I says, I can understand why you believe we should ban the burqa, and I agree with that. And I said, it's like pavement parking. I don't agree that we should ban pavement. You should be a law stopping you from parking on pavements. I don't agree with that, but I understand there's both two ways. Well, what's that got to do with it? I says, well, I'm making a point that I'm not necessarily right. I'm just saying what my opinion is on this matter. Pavement parking, and then somebody else might have an opinion that it should be illegal, and they've made it illegal in Scotland to park on a pavement, and I don't agree with that. So she, I don't. Some of them, it's like. So then I thought, right, I'm wasting my time here. I'll get the fuck away from them. So it's like, yeah, there's lots of reasons, and they sit there and they go on and on about lots of different things, and they've all got problems, and that's a normal part of life. You've got to watch, and you've got to remember, just back away. It doesn't mean they're all right people, they're fine, but sometimes it's a case of you've got to lead your own life and live your own life, and that's what I do. So people have their opinions and whatever, I have mine, so it doesn't mean I'm right. That's what the point I was trying to make to them, was that it doesn't mean, it means that that's what I believe. And the uproar, if you banned burqas, I think you would cause a bigger problem than what we already have. But it's often these problems, you're coming at it from the wrong end. Why do we have uncontrolled immigration? Why do we have so many people come from Islamic countries who have a totally different culture than the British culture, the Western, white, Scottish, British people? We're in Scotland right now. Why? Obviously it's not going to go very well, is it, necessarily, but it's to do with uncontrolled immigration is a problem, right? So anyway, thanks for that, watching this video, uncontrolled immigration video. It doesn't mean to say you don't want immigration, it doesn't mean to say I don't want that, so don't take me out of context, right? I just don't want uncontrolled immigration, which is what we're getting. And Stammer and all the rest of them, all the politicians are the same, and the fact of the matter is, if they wanted to stop it, they would, but they don't. That's why they don't stop it. Right, it's simple, isn't it? It's a simple thing. If I wanted to go into Tesco, I'll go in, and that's what I'm going to do. If I didn't want to go into Tesco, I wouldn't do it, would I? It's just what the reality of life. So Stammer comes away with all that stuff, bullshit. And it's just, that's exactly what it is. And is he any different from any of the rest of the politicians? No, they're all like that. And so the only option I would suggest is that you either put your faith into a Reform Party. So she was going about Nigel Farage, she doesn't like him, that's as well, I like him. But who knows, I don't really trust these politicians. So basically what I think will probably happen is the Reform Party will eventually get power, and then they'll turn it to be a bunch of twats, and that's normal what happens with politicians, right? Am I right or am I wrong, or is it going to be wonderful with them? Don't place your hope on politicians is really what we were getting to with this, right? So that's it, I'm definitely going. Bye.